Elder Barawak, Elder Yashia. Truth will set you free. Salvation and faith. Nazarene Hebrew Institute of Technology.
Shalom, family, to Facebook and YouTube. This is Nazarene Hebrew Institute of Technology. We're not affiliated with any camps or hate groups. And we have a special guest today, family, that we advertise. We have Rabbi Harry Rozenberg, which is a descendant of the ancient rabbinic lineage dedicated to researching the lost tribes of Israel. Continuing this generation mission, he has traveled the world, delved into sacred texts, built bridges with communities who trace their roots back to ancient Israel. As a modern-day explorer of identity, Rabbi Harry declares the clarity we found the tribes. He weaves together history, spirituality, and cutting-edge technology to illuminate the path toward global reconnection and redemption. You already know him. He's just here to remind us where we come from. All praises to the Most High. Thank you, Harry, for coming, and appreciate you. You have anything to say before we get started, sir?
First, I just want to say I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to build bridges together. And you believe what you believe in. I'm a rabbinic Jew from a rabbinic line. I believe in what I believe in. And we make the concentric circles. We see where we meet in the middle.
All praises.
I just did this concentric circles, not the Illuminati stuff. You know I was drawing like concentric circles, Venn diagram. So I'm going to fold in my fingers. No signs here.
All praises. All right. For the audience, for those who don't know, he is over. It's a blessing for him to take this interview. Harry is over in Israel, and y'all know right now we need to keep Israel in our prayers. They're in the active war with Iran. And he's taking his time out in and out of bomb shelters to do this interview. So it's truly a blessing.
Happens to be that the study that I'm in right now is also a double bomb shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be, during the interview, other humans gonna pop right in.
Yeah.
Because all the cell phones go off like alarm, and that gives you 5 minutes before a siren, and then the siren comes. When the siren comes, you got 30 seconds to run to a bomb shelter. So when that first alarm comes, I'm gonna give you guys a heads up. Listen, and then 30-second people come in, and then we see where it goes. The ground shakes, you hear booms and bangs.
I get it, man. I get it. And I appreciate, man. Harry, you just don't know how much I appreciate this, man.
Let's go. It's game time.
All right. So, Yashia, you can take the floor with your questions first. And, we can get started.
Pleased to have you on our platform, Rabbi Harry. And I'm going to start with a couple questions before we get into the historical aspect, just because you are, we consider you a scholar in Jewish history. And so we want to ask a few questions for this live audience. We've had other guests on that can attest to similar questions, but we want to get this answer from you. Are you aware in the Jewish history catalogs in the annal of historically of any moments or any doctrine of a rotating Sabbath?
The concept of a rotating Sabbath, you said?
Lunar Sabbath.
Yes. Lunar Sabbath.
You would have to please expound upon such a topic. What you mean by that?
We recently in America, there's a movement going that the Sabbath begins with each new moon. And that it's a Sabbath on the 8th day, on the first day of that new moon, the 8th day, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th.
Right.
The way Judaism works and the way Torah scholarship works is whenever you want to bring out an idea like that, you're going to have to say who the master teacher is, who taught that idea. Where did this idea and constitution come from, and who extrapolated that information from the Torah? If you're going to say a teaching like that without saying the name of the teacher, I can't really address the matter. When I say a teaching, we go trace the teachings back from Moses to student. So our Sabbaths and our schedules and our things, it means I don't miss a name of a rabbi from me all the way to Moses or where this information came from. If perhaps someone in the 1900s got an idea by looking into the scriptures and had a spiritual revelation and a calling that said this is the way it should go, that's legit, and let them go on that way. I'm not here to stop them, but there's no way in a trillion years the Jewish people will take a homegrown idea from a brain of a man serious, because our doctrines trace back to the Babylonian academies 2,000 years ago.
Wonderful. Thank you. In other words, it's hogwash. So we agree.
Not for you. For us, it is. You can. Perhaps the Most High and the Lord is rejoicing in you doing that. That's not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying, for the Jewish people, we have a very strict definition of what Shabbat is, and the cycles and the timelines and the calculations and the dates. We're very serious about it. For thousands of years, we're very obsessed about these matters. But that's not to say you on your lane and your community with your schedule and the way you're creating, connecting to the Most High, is not bringing the most pleasure to the Most High. Perhaps the Most High is in a state of delight over your service of him. So I'm not here to be the judge of your service.
Okay.
Right. We don't, for the record, too, for put a disclaimer out, we don't subscribe to that. We've been battling with people about that.
I'm happy to inform everyone that the Shabbats we're keeping today has nothing to do with white people or Europeans or Ashkenazim or anything. These calendars date back well before the Babylonian exile, during the time of the First Temple, where Ezra and Nehemiah have documents and students who've written things down that we still have access to today regarding the future calendars that Hillel, the elder, has written out for the 2,000 years to come. They knew the future of the calendars. These men we're like on the level of the Mayans and the Egyptians. They had the secret of the time and the stars and the moons.
Okay, wonderful. And so we brought the question out because we condemn the notion of such a entity being inserted into Torah or scriptures. We just want to
consider it struck down. And let them send their master teacher. Who invented such an idea? Is it homegrown? We don't play homegrown ideas.
Wonderful. Okay, I got another question. So everybody that's keeping that rotating Sabbath, we're not the only ones that's saying that is error. Nazarene Hebrew Institute of Technology. We got a well-studied scholar, master rabbi on here that's telling you, unheard of.
It's all you got to do is figure out who was the guy who thought of that in the first place.
Who thought of it? That's right. Because
it's just one guy. It's one guy who had his own prophetic little vision in his home after a beer or two, or a joint, whatever he had. You know what I'm saying? Deep breath work, whatever he was doing. It could be anything. He had his little moment, and maybe it was divinely inspired for sure. It could be between him and God, but that's not for the house of Israel.
All right, so I got another question. This is my second question. Now that you cleared that up, we in agreement on that 100%. Have you ever? Are you aware of El Idrisi of Andalusia, Spain? He's wrote a book called The Description of Central Africa. And in that book, he makes a claim of an area called Lamlim, which is in modern day Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger area. And he made an assertion in that writing. He spoke of two villages, Malel and Daw, I guess, the name of them, and they both were populated by Jews. Do you have any insight on that? Can you make a comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer because the Jewish people were businessmen par excellence already 2,800 years ago. So that means 800 years before the Common Era, the Jewish people were already, the Israelites were masters of the seas. And setting a business, an outpost. King Solomon had colonies where they were mining stuff for the temple of King Solomon. So the ports of Nigeria and Spain and Portugal, as far as the Jewish people, not even the lost tribes of Israel are concerned, the Jewish people are concerned, there was interactions of business for the last 1,000 plus years prior. So the earliest settlements of these Nigerian ports have Israelite roots in them from business and trade. And now all of a sudden, we're not saying that the Nigerians and everyone in these regions are Israelites. That's not what we're saying. We're saying there was humans there and there was Israelites there. And the Israelites, being big, strong businessmen with a lot of money, had a lot of local women who would come join their tribes. Every man had allowed to have a few wives, according to the law of Israel. He'd have a clan taking local wives. Yeah, and all of a sudden, the color and the genetics of that region where those Israelite businessmen were from the time of King Solomon's temple already, they're going to be there. So now we're not looking necessarily to say who is and who isn't. We're like, what's happening now? And if you look at Western Nigeria and the Igbo tribe, and you see the Israelite fire that's flaming out of Western Nigeria, you're like, yeah, the house of Israel who have seed over here, which is called Zerah Yisrael in Hebrew, the seed of Israel, is clearly predominantly spread throughout these areas, intermingled within cultures that may predate them who are doing pagan worship and ritual.
Wonderful. Beryl Watt's he's gonna take over now. He's got a couple questions. We're gonna rotate. Thank you.
And you know what? Sorry to say that, but who are the people who are not gonna who are gonna be sold as slaves? Are the people who didn't convert to Islam? Who are the people not gonna convert to Islam? The house of Israel. Jewish people in Spain said, "Kill me before I bow to the cross." My ancestors died before converting to another religion. The Jewish people historically have died. Rebbe Akiva, the greatest sage we had 2,000 years ago, the Romans scraped his skin off of his face with hot coals for 6 months in front of everyone, publicly killing the greatest Torah scholar, but he wouldn't convert. He wouldn't bow down to them. So who went as slaves? It was the people who were like, I'm not playing. and where you take me. So it looks like it could have been some situation over here where the Jewish people, when these Muslim slave traders came in, were actually put on slave ships, sold as slaves, with lost their identity, lost their names, lost everything, language, everything, started from scratch. But when they were given the cross, and when they were given the Bible by the church from these pagan guys from the Council in Nicaea from 200 AD, and they were like, "Yo, I'm the white guy, I'm the slave master. Jesus is your God." When they started doing that type of stuff, it like resonated with them. Because like, "Yo, we know about the 5 books and this, so it's like it's our religion. So like we're gonna go all in. We're gonna take this, but we're taking it from like your perverted perspective, Mr. European." That you put in your own agenda into the matter, where you now became this middleman God between us and the Most High. And so the Jewish people have to come now and activate themselves and be like, listen, we got to roll back some things and let the people who come from family bloodlines get access to the heritage from their family bloodlines.
All right.
Great.
All right. So
Sorry to ramble, guys. Sorry to ramble.
No. You're fine. So my question to you is, Harry, like I told you, I've watched you for years, almost a decade, and I've seen a lot of videos of you talking about the Igbos and Limba. So my first question would be, when did you come to the conclusion that the Igbos and the Limbas were descendants of the ancient Israelites?
Oh man, I once had a company called Lost Tribes Beer because I was making the beer from the Ethiopians and the B'nai Menashe and Israel, these 2 tribes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Back. And I started getting emails from around the world, people being like, "Hey, we're from the Lost Tribes of Israel," And then I was like, "That's crazy." So then I built this platform called iTribe, where it was a map of the world where villages around the world could register and identify if you're from the House of Israel. Just let me know instead of email me. I'm not checking my emails, but I'll check this like social network that I got some Jew gold for to build. And next thing you know, boom, Western Nigeria is on fire. It looks like Biafra is trying to re-amalgamate from Islamic Nigeria and form their own Israelite kingdom of 40 million people. And I'm like, hello, Jewish people. Don't you see 40 million people trying to create a Jewish kingdom in the middle of Africa right now? I said, what's going on? So that for me was like, boom. And I'm a descendant of the most famous rabbi of the Jewish people, the Vilna Gaon, who he stated himself that the redemption does not happen first to the Jewish people. It happens first to the missing tribes, to the 10 tribes. And then it activates to the Jewish people. So until the Jewish people wake up and realize that the 10 tribes are there, that the greater house of Israel is there, and they got to work together, there is no redemption for the Jewish people, according to this rabbi's writings. Whoever would like to investigate and see the sources for this, welcome to follow up with me. I'll send them the sources.
Yeah, what was his name?
Well, they call him the Vilna Gaon. Gaon means genius, and Vilna is the city he came from. So the genius of Vilna, they called him. But his name was Rabbi Eliyahu Kramer. He lived 400 or so years ago, but he was a throwback. He had the whole entire Torah of Kabbalah and wisdom. He was like a wizard inside of his brain from the age of 8 or 9 years old already. There hasn't been anyone like him, maybe a few people over the last few hundred years until today. There's one wizard rabbi alive today who's 37 years old, who's on that same caliber.
So basically you're saying that that he was he was saying that, well, you identify the Igbo and Limba as being part of the 10 lost tribes. And then you said
we identify them as the people who are identifying as being from the house of the 10 tribes, which is what we were supposed to keep our eyes open for at the end of days.
Oh, okay. Looking for now, somewhat like a prophecy, you're saying.
The prophecy says, yes, there's a verse that says this tribe going to come out by calling in the name of this, and this one by the name of this. There's like 7 or 8 names the house of Israel is going to be calling themselves by at the end of days when they reunite. So the Jewish people was the blessing that Jacob gave to Judah. When he gave the 12 sons their blessings, he gave Judah a blessing. He says to Judah, he says, your son is going to hold on, your tribe is going to hold on to the scepter of the law until Shiloh comes. And in the verse, Shiloh is gematria, numerical value for Mashiach, the Messiah, meaning that the law of Judea, check it out right here. The law of Judea, written in Aramaic, the Mishnah, the Gemara, written thousands of years ago. You see these little dots over here, these little scripts? This is study. You got to break your back for this law. This was just for a specific small family line that's going to hold on to it. That does not imply that they are the exclusive remnants and the inheritors of the house of Israel. There's a much greater house of Israel. What we do about that in the future, because it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of millions of people in the land of Israel, only the size of New Jersey, we're going to have to discuss what's going to be. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. That's where I'm from, New Jersey. Okay. So part two, the second question I said is we get a lot of backlash from our family members and friends. We know there wasn't all those slave ships weren't Israelites, but your opinion in the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, because that is the substance of why I want this interview, because I need my family members to hear from an outside source. What would you say majority of the slave ships that were the percentage of Igbo, ancient Hebrew Israelites, or even Lemba, what would you say the percentage on slave ships were of Israelites?
Well, it's not up to me to say, but the Lemba for sure was not involved, because the Lemba was in deep South Africa, and they come from the Yemenite Judeans.
Right.
We're talking about the Igbo now and the Western Nigerians. America kept great records of the slave trade. They kept records of where we took the ships from, which docks, which ports. It's estimated conservatively that, let's say, maybe around one third of the slave trade came from the Biafra Igbo land, right? But that's conservative, because it could be more. But even that being said, they were already mixing and breeding everyone with each other. That means just statistically, if you go to ChatGPT and say 400 years later, if a third of them were this, and now you probably got to be looking at like 80 to 90% of the African Americans, even maybe more, have Igbo blood. The House of Israel blood is flowing righteously through their veins.
Yeah, I have a high percentage of Igbo when I took my DNA.
You wouldn't have to tell me, brother. I could smell it away from your Holy Spirit.
Thank you, my brother.
You're a good man. What's a good man? A good man comes from the house of Israel.
Yeah, all praise. I love it. And I smell it through you too, Harry. I always did see the light in you. I always did, my brother.
Let's go.
All right. So my third question is, are you familiar with the Obadiah letter that took place that Rabbi Demota and all of them did in Israel with the courts and stuff? Are you familiar with any of that?
With the validating Igbo stuff?
Yes.
I was watching it unfold. I thought it was fascinating. I kept a stand away from the activities because I don't want to get involved in battling the rabbinical institutions.
Okay.
Because the rabbinical institutions, once you go one step off, you're out.
Oh, okay.
You're out forever. There's no getting back in.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to jeopardize my position in this line of transferring information. But what I did do was suggest a position to the rabbinical scholars of how we approach this phenomenon, which was approved and accepted by the rabbis. The way I view how to move forward. So the way I view it is not about conversion. We're not converting nobody at the moment.
Right. Gotcha. All right, Yashia, it's on you.
All right. So now we back to some more writings. I'm mainly coming out of books, and I know that you're a reader, you're a studier, a researcher. There's a gentleman, it's an older book by the name of Godfrey Higgins. He wrote a book called Anacalypsis. I'm pretty sure you probably have read it, have heard of it. He makes an assertion or an allegation in his writing called Anacalypsis again, that the tribe of Judah migrated into Central, West, and South Africa. And so if that's is even true, I
wouldn't even need to look at his writings, because I would predate this to the writings of Josephus, who speaks about the Judeans at the time of the sack of Rome being sold into slavery into Africa and fleeing into Africa by the millions, perhaps. So when you're a Judean chilling, drinking wine in the hills of Hebron, enjoying your good life with your 7 wives and your fields and this, and you see a Roman army of a bunch of pedophile rapists coming your way, what you gonna do? You're gonna stay there? You're gonna run to Africa? You run into Africa. You're out. Yo, these guys are coming. These Romans are coming full swing ahead with their sick diseases. We're out of here.
Okay, you're very descriptive. Thank you.
Well, we got to be descriptive because you look at these ancient Roman and Greek philosophers, and these all these men had little boyfriends. They were all pedophiles. They were all doing blood ceremonies and sacrifices and doing pagan worship and making Sunday the day of worshiping the sun and taking Jesus and making a Jewish guy into a pagan cult. We got messed with big time by some crazy Europeans.
Wow. So it's a second part to that first question. Do you have any more knowledge? I guess I would say of other tribes in Africa. We know about Igbo. We know about the.
I mean, listen, we got the Ethiopians for sure who've been there since Temple 1, since King Solomon's temple. They already had since King Solomon's temple. Now, when you look at Yemen, who also were there since the time of perhaps Second Temple times, they were the ones who led to the movement down toward the Igbo tribe, correct? And now you have the story of Purim, which was when the Jews were in Babylon. Achashverosh, the king of Babylon at the time, ruled from Ethiopia to India. You know, so imagine the map of the greater Egypt, Ethiopia, all the way to India, one kingdom, 127 provinces, with 127 different languages being spoken, he ruled over. And it says in the 8th chapter of the book of Esther that people all across the kingdom in different languages were mityahadim. They became Judah. They became Judahite because the fear of the law of the Most High fell upon them. So there was a mass conversion already, or an awareness of God across the Silk Road 2,500 years ago. So history is just a matter of, did you survive Christianity and Islam trying to convince you you're not an Israelite or not? Like, did you survive it or not? If you're Muslim or Christian today, likelihood you could have been an Israelite who became Muslim or Christian. If you are an Israelite today, or if you're Jewish, God bless your seed that you got this awareness that you held on to.
Brother Harry,
I'm not saying the whole world's from the house of Israel, but for sure, according to Jewish spirituality and Kabbalah, we do believe that the whole world gets called the house of Israel in the days of the Mashiach. That the Jewish people elevate to the status of priests, like we serve, we're doing the temple worship, we keep in the law, and the whole world becomes Jewish. This is Rav Tzadok HaKohen. This is Jewish Theology 101.
Wonderful. So we also adhere to that structure that the sword from Christianity and Islam, through their forced conversions, a lot of Israelites lost their identity.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's good that you on here now bearing as a second witness, you know, Torah.
I find it unbelievable how people still go to church on Sunday. Who told you about this thing? Yo, was that Greek guy with the little boyfriend? Yeah, that's the guy. And he was the one who told you about that. You're following his customs and traditions? Come on now. And, you know, I don't hate on them. I feel bad for them because they were slaves taken off the ships. This is what they were fed. We got to give them some love, compassionate information with delivered with humility because they suffered. People suffered, man. This is serious.
I got another question, brother. Rabbi Rozenberg. I enjoy you.
Let's go.
And so
let's get started.
We got some more history. Actually, we got from Mr. To the Prophet, one of his writings about the Petit Côté synagogues over in the Senegal region of West Africa.
Oh, sure.
So can you give us a little bit on that, your knowledge of the history?
And like you look at like Timbuktu and Morocco and these areas, you're gonna have trade routes where very wealthy Jewish family clans owned the operations. Who you think had the brains to run massive operations to bring minerals and herbs and spices from this place, and the trust that was involved in such an operation would only be the house of Israel had this level of trust. Jewish businessmen made it all the way to Japan, my guys. So wherever you're going to find a Jewish businessman, you're going to find remnants of a synagogue. You're going to find some scrolls that have been buried. These things are all being found in West Africa, of course. Senegal area as well, Congo, Kenya, you're finding remnants. I'm not saying that everyone there is Jewish, but there have been Jewish people there without a question of a doubt. And they left their mark. And we believe the seed of Israel is the seed that lasts. God is obsessed with genetics. So if you're alive today, you got to give big thanks that you made it this far in the breeding process of humanity.
Wow. All right. So what's your take? This is another question. The Sao Tome area. What is your take on that?
Of which region again, please?
Sao Tome. The island of Sao Tome.
Of which region is that again?
It's Western Africa, the islands off the coast of West Africa.
Oh, by the mangrove area over there.
Sao Tome, see.
Yeah. It's the same narrative, my brother. It's when I started getting these emails, these recipients, it paints a pattern. A whole entire coast of Africa where there was business operations all the way down to the Lemba tribe at the bottom tip of South Africa where they were. You see this remnant in this identity. And we know the tribe of Zebulun and the tribe of Dan were masters at sailing the oceans. They had ships. So my job is not to get nitty gritty with the who's who. It's more like who's in. Who's in? Because now is the ingathering time. Now is the time for us to raise our hands and unite on a front somewhere. But so my job now has not been to look for more tribes, find more tribes, or anything. The tribes, it's time for you to come out and come to us.
For the audience that's listening, I can now understand what you. We can unequivocally state that it is a lot of Israelites over in Africa, more than they have been told weren't. So we got people.
You see dichotomies. You see certain African cultures where they're still cutting their skin and doing voodoo, which is against the Torah law, which the Israelites would have never done. But then you also see certain tribes who are not eating pig and doing circumcision on the 8th day, which is also interesting. So within Africa, there is for sure scattered Israelites there. But let me remind you, my brothers, according to the Kabbalah and according to the tradition of why the Israelites went into exile in the first place. What was the purpose of them getting scattered and going to the exile? Was so when they come back in the future, they bring everyone there with them. So the Arizal, the greatest Kabbalist of the Jewish people, says that the Israelite souls have to go to the 70 different nations of the world to elevate the sparks and bring those nations back. But it doesn't mean, he says specifically, the Arizal, it doesn't mean that all the Jewish people have to go there. Even one Judean, even one Jew who made it to that region and put his seed there and did something, boom, he's going to bring the whole region back with him in the days of the Messiah in the future. So the Israelites were like the recon, like Chabad rabbis. You know, they went out on their own business adventures, but they spread that word and they spread that love and they spread that light than everyone else is. So today, there's no way to know who's a pure blood Israelite and who's not a pure blood Israelite. I may not be a pure blood Israelite. Happens to be my rabbi from the Vilna Gaon traces to the house of David. But a lot of the greatest sages of the Jewish people were converts, like Shemaiah and Avtalion, and Rabbi Akiva's father and Onkelos, the greatest translator of the Torah to Aramaic. These were converts who became the greatest sages that the Jewish people praised their honor to, who became higher than any of the highest Jew could ever be. So it's not about the bloodline. It's about the Most High and his Torah and his word. And so that's the end day narrative. We're not looking for who is and who isn't. We're like, you all will be, and the ones who are now are the ones who are going to bring everyone else with them.
Great. Bear Walk, you want to give
Yeah,
your feedback?
all praises. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely, Harry, I definitely get what you're saying, and really, it's not really because I want the audience to know we're not trying to focus on skin colors. Really, that's not important. But we're really a lot of our family members, so-called African Americans over here, they think this is just a made-up nonsense cult, and I think the camps hurt us too, the way they teach and all that. But I think like a lot of my family members, I'm gonna speak for my family members and a lot of our ministry family members, they just don't believe this is possible that we can be the descendants, right?
Too
So
good to be true.
right, exactly.
But
So
it is. It's a beautiful thing. You know what? Let me explain. I don't blame the camps because you got to stick together and you got to go to who you trust. You can't trust a white guy, especially a white Jewish businessman who's winning in life right now. We don't know who to trust, so you got to stick together. So you're making your own little religion groups and cults and this camp and this camp and this camp. I see it as beautiful, but I see that's going to evolve into something much more beautiful. That's going to make more sense because the camp thing's not going to work out because we're all doing man-made stuff, but it's like also kosher because it's like tribal trust. Like we locked in, we know who we are, and we got each other's back. We've gone through too much trauma and rape to know that we can lock arms with another tribe, another person at this moment. We're not there yet. We got to get there. You know what I'm saying? But you look at a guy like Amare Stoudemire, right? That famous NBA basketball player. I ran into him when he was the biggest star in the Knicks in 2011. He was rolling around with a whole entourage of amazing biblical Hebrew scholars from these camps, Anywhere he went, it was celebrities, models, and Bible scholarly. They would put down the books and they would all battle verses. I started sitting down with the guys and I'm like, listen, I was able to lay it straight, like what the law of Moses really is and etc. And he was able to see that he wasn't getting Torah from me. I was taking Torah from thousands of years ago that we still had and sharing it with him. So he skipped me, went right back to the original OGs, and he started learning Torah. And he's like, okay, none of the camps have it right. So he wasn't afraid to leave because he didn't have trust issues because he had hundreds of millions of dollars. By that, I didn't touch a penny of it. I didn't take money from him to help him study. I was just here I bought him books. I gave him gifts, Nonetheless, this is something that we're going to have a consensus on. We're going to have to come together. And there's going to be some hard questions because, the African-American people could be a little shaded out by the Jewish people who are the landlords and own this and own everything. And they got their nose here but they're also owning the pornography websites and financing wars and stuff and the banks and the Zionists stuff. There's hard questions. And we're going to get there. We're going to do it together as a nation. And we're not saying the Jewish people are perfect, but we're saying when we do unite as people on a consensus, we'll be the strongest force on planet Earth. They don't want me and you to be brothers. They don't want us to unite. I think you're on mute, my brother Shar.
okay, I think I seen you, and I agree with that. They definitely don't want us to be brothers. Some Israelites gonna look at this video and ask why did we interview, and I rebuke them openly. I can care less.
Do you want to stop paying the taxes to the guys who are in their mansions and their yachts doing drugs with models depressed trying to kill themselves? Or are we trying to get out of this exile?
Absolutely.
What are we trying to do?
Absolutely. Hey, so Harry, I seen in one of your videos you had spoke about. I forgot to show you, was on a lady was interviewing you, and you spoke about the limba, and I do stand correct because I remember the limba has a different migration, and I wanted to know. Let's see.
The way they build their homes and their cemeteries, all from Yemen.
There are limba in South Africa you're aware of, and they talked about the Kohen. You talked about the Kohen DNA, right, of the Levitical priesthood, and they said that they had a high percentage of Levitical priesthood. How did that go about? Like,
that was not DNA? Me who said it. This was a professor from Duke University named David Goldman.
Duke University.
Yeah, it's David Goldman. You can look him up on line.
David Goldman.
Goldman or Goldstein, Jewish last name. Let me check quickly.
Yeah, because we want to get that name for that source.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
David Goldstein. I knew it was a Jewish name.
Okay, David Goldstein. All right, and so who did he? What substance DNA did he have?
He found the Y haplograph that was specifically found exclusively amongst the Kohanim of the Jewish people. That means when the Jewish people get called up to the Torah 3 times a week, we read the Torah, and on holidays and fast days, we call up first the priest, then we call up the Levite, and then we call up the Israelite. There's 3 blessings we're going to say. On Shabbat we do 7, we do more. The first one goes to the Kohen, to the priest. How we know who's a Kohen? How we know who's a priest? You know how we know? Because they told their family for thousands of years.
Okay. Yashia, did you take that name down, Yashia?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so my next question would be, have you any other tribes other than Limba?
Let me just continue that the priests were the sons of Moses.
Right.
And from the house of the sons of Aaron. Excuse me.
Aaron.
I just may have heard a siren. I just got a little confused. Give me 1 second. I'm running just to check. It could be the door or something.
Go ahead. Family, for those who don't know, we are live with Brother Harry. He's in Israel, and they are in a live war. So he's in a bomb shelter right now. So please bear with us. He had to step away, make sure everything's all right, and for his protection. And we appreciate him doing this interview. We really do. We really do. Hey, Orthodox Moore, how you doing, Art? You ain't came to see me, man. You don't like talking to me if there's something big pops up, man. You're too big, man. All praises. I thought you was going to get with me, man. I'm trying to get you on here and do that Canaanite teaching. You a Hebrew Israel about them Canaanites. Yeah, that's powerful right there. That's powerful right there.
Okay, sorry about that. It was just guests coming out, no siren. It could be that there's just people who are scared. They come to the bomb shelter, so people may pop in. But let me just rephrase what I was saying for.
Okay, go ahead.
The tribe of Levi gave birth to Moses and Aaron. From Aaron came the priests, right?
Right.
So today, the Jewish people, we have a record of who the priests are based on what your father told you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when we did genetic testing on the people today who self-identify as the priests, we saw, guess what? They all have a specific marker that no one else has. This is what the Y haplograph genetic marker is. Happens to be this Duke professor found the same marker in the Lemba tribe amongst the people who are of the priestly clan of the Lemba tribe. And it was very clear that the Lemba tribe, based on their customs and traditions, traced back to Yemen, where we know there was a Judean royalty living like kings at one point.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance? A friend of mine, a brother I know that's in the chat, his name is Orthodox Moore. Have you ever got a chance to talk to Hamadishi? He passed. He was from Limbo as well.
Oh, it's very possible. I must have spoken to tens of thousands of Israelites over the past 10 years.
Yeah, his name was Kohen Hamadishi. I'm familiar with him.
My deep, humble humility if I don't remember offhand.
Yeah. He passed recently. I think he passed last year or earlier this year, I believe. But my next question, then I'll let Yashia go. Next question was, have you researched any other tribes, African tribes, outside of Igbo and Limba that you might be aware of that they can be the descendants as well?
My research has led me to focus just exclusively on a few hotbeds, which I believe will be the spreading points. The hotbeds I believe on are the 3 biggest plots of land today, where there's the 3 biggest conflicts of humanity going on, but because the British drew borders, man-made borders through them. That would be the Igbo with Biafra, the Nigerian borders, which were done 1917-ish around by the British. And then you got the Durand Line, right, going through Pakistan, Afghanistan, where the Pashtun are, who were where the 10 tribes were exiled to. And then you got Israel with this Palestinian thing. The British just started drawing lines amongst the middle of these big Israelite center grounds and started saying dividing and conquering people, because the British were obsessed with hijacking the narrative that they were from the house of Israel, that they're the royal family, that they're going to create the new world order and the new kingdom. So they didn't want this ingathering to happen. So they brought that church on you with that cross so hard. They're like, you're not who you think you are. We're the overseers here. So that's why they started messing with everyone. So I'm focusing most just on Nigeria, Afghanistan, Israel now. And a byproduct of focusing on those three regions is the African Americans, because they are implicated when I focus on Nigeria and Biafra.
Yeah, and I wish we can get all the African Americans, so-called, to listen to this, because
We're about to. It's gonna happen.
A lot of them won't listen. They won't listen.
Yeah.
They think we're not the people of the descendants.
But that's according to prophecy, says what they would be feeling at the end of days. So it's okay. Everyone's playing their role. They will wake up. God's plan will come forth, and the message will spread to everyone.
Yeah, I believe that.
Front row seats, but everyone's going to join later on. Yeah.
All right, Yashia.
Early bird gets the worm.
All right. Yeah, that's right.
I got some. These is going to be a little more interesting for everybody's listening, and I'm glad he's saying this so everybody, all the naysayers and these Christian churches and these people that are converted to Islam, I'm glad he's giving this testimony as a, verifying what we say. So there's a book written by a gentleman by the name of Charles Forster. It's called The One Primeval Language. He makes an assertion in there that the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were deported to Spain by Nebuchadnezzar.
This is from the book of Obadiah, from the prophecies of Obadiah. It was already said that the Judean exile went already as far as Sepharad, which is translated as Spain. So we didn't need him to teach us that. We got our own scriptures to let us know that in Spain there was already Judeans exiled there from between the time, the first temple. And then the craziest thing was, you guys know how the Torah made it from Babylon to Europe? I'm going to tell you the craziest story ever. Most Jews don't even know this story. There was two yeshivas. Well, first of all, there's a word I'm going to teach you in English that may be new to you. It's new to most Jews. It's most new to almost anyone. It's called Exilarch, the Exilarchy. Have you heard of this word? I'll spell it out for you guys. Hold on. Exilarch, the Exilarch. This is a political position held by a descendant of the house of King David in the exile. It lasted to the year around 1000 in Babylon. That means from the destruction of the temple in the time of, Rabbi Akiva and quote unquote Jesus and this whole common era, the Roman takeover, this position of the Exilarchy was still established and strong all the way to the year 1000. And we can name you every exilarch on the list who was from the house of King David, who oversaw the greater house of Israel's exile and was responsible for the house of Israel's well-being. So in Babylon, there was two yeshivas, in Pumba and Pumbedita, Sura and Pumbedita, two major cities in Babylon, where they had yeshivas that went to the year almost 1000. Now, there was a story that the Jews who went to Spain and Italy and Greece, they were very Hellenized. They became very adapted to European culture. They didn't hold on to the Torah and the fear of God as the Babylonian academies did. But there was 5 big scholars from the Babylonian academies who needed to fundraise. And they went on a mission together to go fundraise to raise money from the Jewish communities so the yeshivas could have money. Like, your church needs money, whatever need money, you got to fundraise. So the Babylonian academies around the year 1000 or so sends 5 of the greatest scholars to go fundraise. Guess what happens to them? They get kidnapped by Muslim slave traders. The Muslim slave traders take these guys, and you know what they did with them is big bank. You know how much a Jewish rabbi is worth? Whew! You got a Jewish rabbi held hostage, you could sell him for a lot of money. People will buy him back. So these slave traders went to 5 different ports on the Mediterranean between Spain, Italy, and Greece, and they sold these 5 scholars off to the Jewish communities for big ransoms. These 5 rabbis in these 5 communities became the pillars of the Torah academies for the next 1,000 years. And from there, Torah spread to Europe. That's how we trace it, from 5 guys taken by African slave traders. And if you don't believe me, do your homework and figure it out yourself.
Great.
Unbelievable, right?
No, more history. No, it's believable. It's believable.
I can't. This type of stuff fascinates me. I'm blowing my own brain out just talking about it.
We are jotting down everything to obtain this history.
Thank you, brothers.
We thank you so much for sharing it with this live audience as well.
I thank God.
Yeah. We got another question for you, Rabbi. We received some more information from a Karaite scholar by the name of Nehemiah Gordon. I'm pretty sure you may be familiar with him.
I pay no heed to the Karaites. Man-made stuff. Once guys start doing man-made doctrines, I don't want to even hear what they got to say. They're just going to bring confusion.
So now I'm wondering if it's even okay to ask this question. Maybe.
Yeah, ask him
by all means, ask the question.
Ask him, Yashia, he might be familiar.
I'm just letting you know, my rabbis warned me not to listen to the philosophy of philosophers because they're going to leave you more confused than you started with. He's like, just stick to your lineage. Please, ask away, my brother.
So he actually has a video out, and he put it was a copy or portion of a manuscript that he actually placed in the video. Are you familiar? I'm not asking if you believe this, but believe the context or the contents of what I'm about to ask you. But are you familiar with any Hebrew New Testament manuscripts that are in Israel, that the state of Israel has control over?
Well, it would be interesting. It wouldn't be a big deal because whatever we canonized was a small part of a lot of writings that didn't make it into the canonization of the Tanakh. So there could be a ton of scrolls and writings that were written, perhaps that could be found. That doesn't mean the person that wrote it was authentic, inspired by God. That could just mean another homegrown guy who lived 2,000 years ago. The books that were canonized and put in the Tanakh, the men of the Great Assembly, by Ezra and Nehemiah, and by the scholars and by the Israelite prophets, the last prophets, they were very intentional with what's in and what's out. And when they locked it for good until the Messiah comes. And when the Messiah comes, we're not going to believe he's actually a Messiah or the Messiah has finished his job until 3 things happen, according to the prophecies. The 3 things are as follows. There will be peace in the world. The house of Israel will be united, and there shall be a temple in Jerusalem where all nations will come and praise the Most High. Until those 3 things are done, we're not interested in nobody's scrolls or scribes or nothing. We're waiting for the Messiah to do his job and finish it off. Whether it's him, doesn't matter who it is. May the best man win.
Rabbi Rozenberg, you just said something that just moved me. I want you to highlight this portion of you. Did you say all nations?
Oh, yes, L'kol ha'amim. In Hebrew, it says, Beiti karei l'kol ha'amim. This house will be a house of prayer by all nations, God says. And until that happens, you're not dealing with anything called the Messiah or the days of the Messiah.
Wonderful.
This is a verse in Isaiah. This is the fundamental Judaism 101, fundamental belief. If you don't believe in this, you can get kicked out of the Jewish community.
Y'all hit the like button too, family. Please, everybody hit the like button, share the video. Please hit the like button, share the video. Thank you. Go ahead, Yashia.
All right. So we got I got another question. I'm a book guy. I read a lot of books and I look for a lot of things. I'm now very familiar with a lot of migration patterns, and so according to how you said it earlier in the interview, most of us that got bought over here in slavery, we were stripped of everything. So we gain knowledge when we talk to our scholars, when we talk to our people that are spread out all over the world, and what we can find in whatever vestiges of books that they may have had, made some record of certain things. There is a writing by a person, and his name is Francois Maximilien Misson. You may be familiar with him.
Not offhand, but I'm happy to do a quick deep dive.
Okay, his book is called The Voyage to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
He made a statement in there that I found kind of interesting. I've talked to a few people about it. He stated that the Portuguese Jews, he didn't go into other areas where Jews were. He simply stated that the Portuguese Jews, and I don't know if he had been all over the world or not, because obviously there are Jews that this wouldn't apply to. But he stated that the only Jews that were black were the Portuguese Jews.
Mm-hmm.
What is your insight, or what do you know anything about that you can?
This is a no-brainer because already we're going to go and look into the Mishnah, which was written, let's say, 2,000 years ago, but based on conversations from 2,500 years ago, based on what Moses was taught. So it says in the Mishnah, Negaim, chapter 2, Mishnah 1, second chapter, first Mishnah, Negaim. Anyone could search it up. What is the color of the ancient Israelites? It says the ancient Israelites were not black. It says the ancient Israelites were not white. They were boxwood, it says. The color of boxwood? I don't know. It could be right here like this. It could be boxwood, you know? It could be like the color of your face, my brother. That's what it's saying, the color of the ancient. This is the Mishnah. This is not me. This is not my opinion. This is written thousands of years ago. However, King Solomon had 1,000 wives, and there was mass conversions over different waves of time. And Israelite businessmen married women from different tribes every 50 to 20 years, every generation. So the idea of a certain color, Israelite, is already you've lost academic integrity and scholarship by once you start talking about it. Now you look at Israel today, and you go to the Kotel, the Western Wall. You're going to see Jewish people who are white as me. Look at how white I am. You're going to see people white as me. You're going to see people Ethiopian like the color of the chair behind me. You're going to see some Chinese-looking Jews. You're going to see some Indian Jews. You're going to see Jews of all colors today in Israel. There's not one Jewish person who thinks for a split second that the color of this person's skin has anything to do with anything. But that being said, in Portugal, for sure, there could have been dark-skinned Jews just because, they were doing business with the Mugrab, which had communities in Egypt from, prior to 2,000 years ago, in Morocco, which had rabbinic communities that spanned back since the first temple times. Come on now. Whoever starts getting nitty-picky with colors, they lost their mind already.
Right. This is good. Bearwalk, you got a few.
Okay, so definitely I agree with that. My concern was that was more important, that my family needs to hear and the audience needs to hear. Stop wiping us off the table like we don't count and there's no way we could be Israelites. That's what my argument is. I don't argue whether your bloodline, Harry, a person that looks like you, that's not. It is what it is. But people need to understand. Here in America, stop discrediting us, because like you said, it's all shades, but stop discrediting us like we can't.
According to the Jewish people, if you have this calling and you gravitate towards it, it was because your soul was carved from it.
Yeah.
You're returning to where you came from.
You know what? When I took my DNA, right, Harry, and I said, even if it was disappointing to what I wanted to hear, right, I could care less. I still love the Most High, and I'm still going to practice this way, because this is the way. Whether you're a convert, whether you bloodline, this is the truth.
I say the same about myself, brother. If I came from a Roman pagan pedophile, or if I came from the house of David, I don't care which one it is. I'm in. I'm all in on this.
That's right. I'm in.
I'm in on it because I see this God as the living God, and there's no question in my brain about it.
No doubt, Harry. No doubt. All right. So I'm gonna go off some questions now because you're over there in Israel, and I know you've been hearing. Well, wait. I'm going with this question first. I know you've been hearing about Ron. I know you know Ron. I've seen you in videos. Look back and forth with Ron Dalton. He's teaching this Africa.
I busted him big time.
He's teaching this Africa's.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the one thing he missed that he just couldn't get. He's like, yeah, you know what? The Portugal, ancient Israel, Judean stuff, right? He's like, that was us. That was me. That's us, right? So I was like, yeah, if you did agree that those ancient Portuguese Jewish guys were actually from the house of Judah, how come you don't know who the names of the rabbis, the scholars of the Torah they wrote down? You're making up your own doctrine and you're leaving aside the doctrine. I'm studying the doctrine of the Portuguese rabbis from the 1300s and the 1200s. I said, and that law teaches that it's not about race or it's not about color.
All praises. All right, so
that's why I threw him off. Like he took some good information, then he made himself like I'm the prophet, type of guy. And like you're not in the house of Israel, and I'm like, whoa, you're getting your ego mixed up with facts, and you got a lot of people following you. Very dangerous.
Yeah, it could be dangerous. Now we're gonna talk about this land, Harry, because
he's a good guy. I'm not putting away.
Yeah. He's a good brother. We had him on.
I didn't like the scholarship, but the guy's good.
I met him personally. I respect him. He has some good information.
He has some good man.
Yeah, he has some information. He has some information I disagree with, and this is one of them.
And you're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to battle.
With the land of Israel. So let me ask you this: will you say the Mount Sinai that's in the scriptures that says in Midian? Do you agree that is there in South Arabia? That's where the true Mount Sinai is, because there's arguments that it could be somewhere else.
Jewish people are not willing to say things we're certain about that we're not certain about.
Right.
So if we can't say 100% certainty where it is, it's called it's like a Yiddish Talmudic saying like "bleibing schwer" means like I don't know, we don't know. So the Jewish people are very quick to put our hands up and say we don't know. Where the Israelites cross the Red Sea? I don't know. Where's Noah's Ark today? I don't know. Where's the Garden of Eden? I can't be too sure. So these are certain questions that we will for
the scripture, the Torah does say Midian. That's what it says.
So we don't know exactly these locations today to pinpoint. There's speculation that it's the Red Sea and they found chariots. Ron Wyatt, I think, was discovered.
But he got exposed though.
That's what I'm saying.
I've been watching some evidence on pattern of evidence, and they exposed Ron Wyatt that was a lie. That was a lie. We got information on it.
And that's why we stay like this, because we don't follow no one's man-made, homemade thought. Yeah. So because I don't have a tradition of where it is, I can't tell you.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's one of the smartest things we can say sometimes is I don't know. A lot of people struggle with that, Harry. All right. So my second question. One second here. My second question will be, there are a lot of limba in South Africa. Of course, you are aware of. Are you aware of the migration patterns which they have supplied to you? Any type of migration patterns where they came from to get into South Africa?
Yeah, from the studies and from, as I said before, from the way they build their cemeteries and their homes and their customs and traditions, it seemed like from anthropological studies, it originated from Yemen, the Jews from Yemen. And if you look at the map of where Yemen is, where South Africa is, and how far they had to get from Jerusalem to Yemen, and then from Yemen, it's the next stop on the train. And even today, we forgot to mention the Israelites of Madagascar. Massive Madagascar movement, Israelite community going on. People from the tribes. That's that Yemen, Madagascar, South Africa train stop of the business route. You're going to be getting gold, bananas, whatever you're going to be getting. You're going to be making bank and going up and down those things, and you got your operations. You got land. You own land.
Yeah, that does make it a difference between the customs and everything, and the business, trade, and all that. Yeah, okay. My last question on this one. Do you believe, I know we say Israel's the size of New Jersey. Do you believe it possibly was bigger than what they say it is today?
Oh, for sure. We know parts of Lebanon and Syria and the tribes of Manasseh were already on the other side of the Jordan River, whole Sinai Peninsula. Of course, it was much bigger. But guess what? In the days of the Messiah, it gets even bigger. And it's not going to be some Zionistic war takeover. It's going to be the tribes of the world. They're going to raise their hand and say, we want Israel on us also. You know the level of freedom we experience here in Israel and technology and advancement? Yeah. We're living in the future. Israel, you don't really even have to lock your doors in Jerusalem. It's a safe place. You don't worry for your kids out here. You know, everyone here looking out for each other. It's a place of love and vibrant community of team. Israel's in the future. You're going to Israel and you go to New York City, you're going back in time so the whole world's going to say, Israel, please help us. Give us some sustainable electricity technology and water filtration systems and vertical farming and telehealth medicine, 3D printed stuff. I want to get into the future with you guys and get liberated. And Israel's responsibility is to be a light onto other nations and to say, yes, we are here to serve you. We're not here to be better than you or have more money than you. We're here to serve you.
All praises.
And if Israel's not serving the world, that's not Israel.
All praises. Yashia? You muted, Yashia. You muted.
No, I'm just saying this is great. I'm glad everybody's hearing this. I hope they share this video because they're going to really be interested in the next question that I raise up to Rabbi Harry Rozenberg. So I'm a good judge of character, and so is Barrett Wack. Energy. I feel sincerity coming from you. It's a lot of propaganda out here that will pit us against our brothers over in Israel and have us believe that we're not welcome, that we should be at war with one another. And all I hear from you is you pushing love, which is what we push. And, you know, we got to be a light and a guide. And I think, the propaganda machine that is out here that doesn't want to see things progress is behind all of this. What's your take on that?
I think people are mistaking the evil within the Jews for the Jewish people. Because I don't only battle people outside the Jewish world. I battle within the Jewish world also. And I got a lot of enemies also. A lot of people want me erased. I have no fear for them within the Jewish community, without the Jewish community. But the Vilna Gaon, my ancestor, the greatest rabbi of the last 1,000 years, one of them, based on writings from the Zohar, based on 2,000, 3,000-year-old traditions, is the final battle the Jewish people face is not going to be with Esau. It's not going to be with Ishmael. It's not going to be with anyone. It's going to be with the evil within the Jewish people called the Erev Rav, the mixed multitude. That means when Moses took the Israelites out of Egypt, it says he took them out and the Erev Rav went with them. The mixed multitudes came with them. So who's this mixed multitudes? That was the Egyptian magicians and sorcerers who converted with Moses and said, we're going to join you, Moses, in your new religion. So when Moses bounced Egypt, the highest ranking priests of magic and dark magic went with Moses. And they rolled with the Israelites. And they were the ones that caused the sin of the golden calf. So when Moses goes up for the mountain the first time and gets those tablets and smashes them, why he smashes them? They built the golden calf. Who built the golden calf? Not the Israelites. It was the Egyptian magicians that were within the Israelites. And God says, Moses, you brought them out with you. Now you're going to suffer from this. And they're going to be with you until the end of time. And this is the final battle we have to face. So the final battle the Jewish people have to face are occult Egyptian dark magic guys who call themselves Jews, who are not really Jewish. And they wear the name Jew on them, and they rule over the Jewish people, and they cause wars and Torah to be forgotten and try to divide the house of Israel. These are the main enemies of the Jewish people within the Jewish people. And it's not necessarily an individual or a person. It's an ideology. I recommend you search up Rabbi Ephraim Palvanov. He's a rabbi online, and he gives a lecture on the Erev Rav. A fascinating 3-part series. You'll learn all about it. And a lot of the customs and traditions of the Jewish people today may even be inspired by these guys that we're going to have to roll back on and lose some customs and traditions. So it's a very deep, dark subject.
Amazing.
I got a few more,
Good, yes,
more questions, just to see if you have any general knowledge of a couple of groups over in Africa. I've been researching. Now I know about North Africa, of course. We know about North Africa. Are you familiar with, or do you have any insight, or have you done any studies? Now, I'm not saying nothing too detailed, but the Tutsi people in the Rwanda area.
Yeah, by South Africa. I think there's definitely a crossover with Lemba culture and their culture. But if you would look and just see, on ChatGPT, what are they doing that's against the laws of Moses, and what are they doing that is part of the laws of Moses, you'll see certain traditions that would never be found amongst the Israelite people. So it would seem that there's a crossover, that there's customs, that there's traditions. It would seem like they're the type of people that would graft in to the house of Israel, who may be the reason why the Lemba went there. So to inspire a tribe like that to rejoin. But I'm not smart enough to speculate if that specific tribe would be from the house of Israel or not. That would be speculation land, which I stay away from.
Okay, I understand that. It's fair. Well, there's another group, the Luango people from Angola. What do you know about? If anything at all, have you heard about them?
Yeah, I'm seeing videos coming out and amazing communities forming and joining. But it's, again, like I said before, it's part of the blanket. Is I focused on the ground zero, the Nigeria Biafra lands, the Lemba lands, and now I'm seeing even the Abu Daya of Uganda and etc. I could list you 100 villages in Africa right now, popping off now, serving the Most High, calling them the house of Israel. And it's not my job to say who is or who isn't really from the house of Israel, but I'm here to suggest what we can do to move forward, knowing that we could be the strongest force if we united and became one voice.
Wow. One last question for me.
No, it's 12:30 at night here. We may have to do a part 2, my guys.
Okay.
We almost got you here for 2 hours. We got you an hour and a half already, so we ain't got that much left. So yeah, we'll be all right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I may have to take like a bathroom break in like a minute. If you want to do another 40 minutes, I could go. I would do like a little bathroom break, like a 30-40 second break.
Well, Yashia, what you got left?
I just had one question left.
Let's hit it. Let's see where that goes.
It was about the Falasha people over in Ethiopia.
Sure.
I was going to ask, are they the only group of Israelites that you are aware of in Ethiopia? Because I believe,
according to my research, that the Ethiopian Israelite colony started during the time of King Solomon, where they were already mining for temple treasures and golds and stuff, and bringing them back and forth. But there was different waves of Israelite refugees who sought safety there, knowing that this was a safe place for Israelites. So let's say every 100 years, 200 years or so, there could have been a group showing up and grafting in and making their way and saying, this is a safe haven for Israelites. Ethiopia was controlled exclusively by Ethiopians until Italy tried to mess with them, but still they stayed there. But there was, a lot of racism towards the Israelite Ethiopians from the non-Israelite Ethiopians, from which I'm under the impression of. So I got to learn more about it. I'm good friends with Rohan Marley, Bob Marley's son, who teaches me about Haile Selassie and the schools of Ethiopian spiritual order out there. So I haven't cracked the code yet of really what's going on, but it seems pretty fascinating. Of what we do think, Haile Selassie claims to be a direct male descendant of Menelik, the son of Queens Sheba and King Solomon. So even if they're not Israelite ones, they could be still House of David, non-Israelite. Who knows what's going on? It's a big situation.
Wow. So wow. Oh, great. I don't have anything else, Barry Wack.
I got one more question, and then we can let him go. Definitely, I definitely appreciate you coming, man. But me and Yashia, we're studying some stuff about the Hebrew, right? And I'm pretty sure you subscribe to that Hebrew is the the creation tongue, right? So, what do you believe? Because I found some information. We found some information on the Hebrew being the oldest alphabet from some scholars. Um, um, right now, there's some books out about it with Doug Petrovich and I think Petrie. What's his name? Yashia that discovered
Flinders Petrie. He discovered the markings or the carvings over in
scriptures, right? And it was over in Egypt, right? So my question to you is, do you believe Hebrew is the tongue of creation?
100%.
That's what I needed to hear. Because a lot of people are, the Kemet stuff. I remember you used to debate with Polite and them. They think that the Kemet language is older. Well, we disagree with that.
When Abraham rode through to Egypt and Pharaoh sat one-on-one with Abraham gave him big downloads. Abraham schooled Kemet.
Of course he did. He was a friend of the Most High.
Well, yeah, they took Abraham's wife, and they were like, Abraham's like, yo, say you're my sister, because if they know you're my wife, they're gonna kill you, because these are a bunch of misbehaved gentlemen.
Yeah.
I don't trust these guys for nobody. These Kemet guys, they're gonna take you if I say you're my wife. What kind of scholarship is that? That's your religion? That's your God? Your God's the type of people who's gonna kidnap Abraham's wife? Get out of here! Come on now.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Abraham was scared of these men. Who you with, Abraham or Kemet? I'm with Abraham.
That's right.
Father of all nations.
All praises.
Yeah. We dealt with Egypt too long ago for that to be relevant anymore.
Yeah.
Egypt was a society where the pharaohs were the god men, inbreeding with their own sisters and daughters, trying to keep the bloodline and becoming all. They say the pharaoh Moses had to deal with was so deformed it was ridiculous because of the inbreeding, And the scholars that I had to debate in the community, these Kemet scholars, each one of them deep down inside, they felt like they were the reincarnation of Pharaoh. And I'm like, yo, we're dealing with some egos. I was like, you the Pharaoh? Oh, welcome, Mr. Pharaoh. I didn't realize you're the king over everyone. You're the ruler. Everyone got to bow down to you? Sorry. Slice dice.
Yeah. So, Harry, what do you say to our Christian family members, like my sister, Yashia's cousin, aunts, my people in the chat, dads, moms? What do you tell them when they argue? What was your closing words be? Tell them whether the future how it's going to be. What would you say to them that when they say, "Oh, y'all not no Israelites, we want none of us was on Israelites"? What do you say to them to help them?
I mean, listen, it's a little, if they're Christians and they're already praying to a Jewish rabbi named Jesus, you don't need a middleman to go to God. You go right to God direct. Whether Jesus was Messiah, that's not my job. I'm not involved in it. I don't get involved in this whole thing, New Testament stuff. I stay in my Jewish lane. But all we do know is you don't have to follow the Council of Nicaea. If your Christian New Testament doctrines are in English, you got to understand how many versions of that English document there exists. There's hundreds of thousands of different versions of this New Testament document based off of Roman pagan pedophilia guys who redacted these books. So unless you got some original scholarship of the original Jesus stuff from like Ethiopia or whatever, and there's not with the, I would say you better make sure you don't have European influence in your religion and your connection to God, because it could pervert it. I'd say go straight to the Most High. You got a piece of God inside your soul, inside of your heart. You don't need a middleman church to get you there. You need a synagogue. You need a house of prayer. Don't let it be on Sunday. Make sure it's on Shabbat. Make sure it's on Saturday. If you're doing it on Sunday, you better have a good explanation to me of why you're worshiping on Sunday, the day of the sun, the day the Romans worshiped. And so I'm not here to bust your chops or get you off your high horse. I'm here to challenge and ask hard questions. And I want you to give me good answers for. And if you can't give me a good answer for, you got to go humble and submit yourself to a greater knowledge.
All praises. All right, man. Definitely want to thank you, Harry, for taking your time out during this crisis, I'm going to say, with this war. I asked the Most High to protect.
Wow, look at this. You guys want to see my phone for a sec? It says the Home Front Command has alerted instructions in severe situation. We got to go to the bomb shelter right now.
Wow.
Just got
definitely
a minute ago. Incoming from Iran. You see where it says incoming from Iran?
Thank you very much. What? I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Harry, for everything you've done. Thank you for taking your time out. You could have canceled under these circumstances. I really appreciate you, man. We'll be praying for everybody in your community and the land of Israel as well. And people in the chat, please keep Israel in prayer.
Bless Israel. Bless the people in Israel.
Blessings,
I love you guys so much. Let's make sure we follow up with a round 2, because I didn't even tell anyone how they got to register their village on iTribe.us and how we're going to bring Israel.
Oh, yeah. Definitely get a part 2.
We got a whole round 2. So let's schedule it. I'm looking forward. God bless. I pray for you guys for health, wealth, freedom from oppression, and just goodness from God. And let me tell you one thing. God loves us more than we could ever love God. And God wants us to enjoy the world that he built. And the more we have compassion on others, the more God will have compassion on us.
That's right. So
let's end on this note of highness. I'm going into the rocket zones.
All right. Shalom,
Shalom, brother.
Let's
family all around me. Family all around me. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. We are family. We might have the same last name, but that don't make you my family. Nah. I got some people with the same blood, and I know that they can't stand me. I got some people I call that ain't kin that's gonna pull up and handle it. They take care of that business like family. We come from them trenches like family. They talking, you listen, that's family. They don't tell your business, that's family. They calling your phone, coming looking for you. They say that you missing, that's family. They don't need permission, that's family. When you hurt, they can feel it, that's family. Let them come while you're cheering, that's family. Let them come when you living, that's family. Family all around me. Hey, family all around me. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. We are family all around me. Hey, family all around me. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. We are family. Hey, ain't nobody fighting around here. Ain't nobody shooting around here. Everybody that's around here, family. All love, no hate, be clear. No shade, all love, be real. You love them, you should know how it feel. Tired of all these badass kids. Tired of paying all these bills. Family going through the same thing, so they know exactly how you feel. They supply a shoulder I can cry. I provide a place where they can heal. Leave my money out, they don't steal. Let them have it if it's for a bill. Soldier for me when they in the field. Only way I live, family all around me. Hey, family all around me. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. We are family all around me. Hey, family all around me. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. We are family. We might have the same last name, but that don't make you my family. I got some people with the same blood, and I know that they can't stand me. I got some people I call that ain't kin that's gonna pull up and handle it. They take care of that business like family. We come from them trenches like family. Family all around me.